So it seems like we sort of can't just have a normal weekend. The latest is that the Des Moines Register canceled the release of the last Iowa primary poll before today's caucus in Iowa. But in the poll that did come out, Bernie Sanders has jumped to a 13-point advantage over Joe Biden, with Elizabeth Warren in second place, 7 points behind Bernie. So let's take it, as I love to do, a step at a time. Tonight is the Iowa caucuses. These are the first votes in the 2020 Democratic primary. It is not a primary. So instead of you show up at any time during the day and you vote and then you leave, the way the caucus works is people gather, they talk about the candidates, they try to convince other voters, come over and support my candidate, and then they take an initial vote. The viability threshold in the Iowa caucuses is 15%. So if you take that initial vote and your candidate is below 15% in any precinct, then you have another round of discussion and you select another candidate until everybody remaining has 15%. And then the delegates are allocated proportionally. That's the gist of the way the caucus system works. The Des Moines Register poll is considered the gold standard Iowa poll. And they announced over the weekend, we're not releasing the poll results because at least one person who was surveyed said one of the candidates was not mentioned. When they said of the following candidates, who do you support? A candidate was left out. The Des Moines Register said, we don't have evidence that this happened to more than one person, but we don't have proof that it didn't. And so we are canceling the release of the poll. And many people immediately and understandably very suspicious that this was done either because Bernie was crushing the results and they wanted to suppress it, or because Bernie was the one who wasn't mentioned in the list of candidates. We don't know if that's true, but it is immediately raising suspicions. And the temperature of this entire thing has just increased dramatically hours before the caucusing starts tonight. Now, meanwhile, there are other polls. We have a civics DPR or DFP data for progress poll, and the numbers heavily favor Bernie Sanders. Bernie 28, Warren 21, Biden and Buttigieg tied at 15. In an average of recent Iowa polls going into today's vote, the numbers are Bernie leading at 24.7, Biden at 21, Buttigieg at 16, and Warren 15. Now, with these numbers, remember, there is proportional allocation of delegates. With these percentages, you would have Bernie get 10 delegates from Iowa. You would have Biden get 9, Buttigieg 7, Warren 6. But remember, there's a 15% viability threshold. So there's roughly a quarter of the vote that right now is with candidates that are below 15%. That support will be reallocated to the other candidates before the night is over, meaning anyone still could win. But the most important takeaway, and I don't want people to forget this, almost anyone can come away with the most delegates tonight or with a plurality of the delegates tonight, but no one is going to do better than get some momentum because there's only 41 delegates tonight. So if Bernie gets 9 and Biden gets 10, or Bernie gets 11 and Biden gets 8, this is almost zero in context of the entire Democratic primary. That's not to say it doesn't matter tonight. The point is, tonight is more about momentum because getting one more delegate than the second place person, in terms of the math, doesn't do much. In terms of the headlines, in terms of the PR, it does a lot. So we will have live coverage on our YouTube channel, on our Twitch channel, and on our Facebook page tonight. I hope you'll join. We'll be watching the results coming in. We'll be taking live calls. I will be, I think I actually have a bunch of stuff to give away also. We've got a bunch of stuff that we've accumulated from different advertisers and sponsors. I'm going to have stuff to give away. If you live in Iowa, go caucus, call into the show afterwards. I will want to hear from you, and make sure you're following me on Twitter at @Pakman. If you experience any irregularities when you go caucus tonight in Iowa, send me a tweet at @Pakman. I will be monitoring. We will take a quick break and be back right after this.